Hey, it's Friday. Woo! Yeah. Glad that you guys made it through this first week. I hope everything's been going well. I know that things have been a little different, but it seems like from what I've been getting on my end, everyone's learning how to log in. You guys are completing your work, and it seems like we're on a good pace for a successful at least first quarter or second quarter, however long we have to do this. And so, again, if you guys have any questions about anything, feel free to send me an email. And as always, it's great to hear from you. All right, so today we are going to begin our, what I'm going to call teaching you guys how to argue with each other properly series, okay? In science, we argue evidence, we argue facts. You hear a lot about that in the news, how just people argue all the time. I mean, my facts are right, or you don't have the right facts. Well, the great thing about in science is that we can actually look at real evidence, hard evidence that can be observed and studied. And so in our class, in order to make it more lively, I'm going to actually try to teach you how to better argue. And I'm not saying go do this with your friends or family, but I would like to see you guys learn how to have a good discussion with each other that uses, evidence and reasoning, okay? So let's get through this. I'm going to teach you something called the CER method, claim, evidence, and reasoning. All right, what's a claim? Well, it's an answer to a question. It's usually a statement, okay? So I like to pick on one that I think is kind of funny. I mess with kids in class every year about this, about the idea of the earth being flat. Okay, so if I was to ask the question, what is the shape of the earth? The claim would be, it's flat. Okay, now if someone was to say that the earth was flat to you, would you just believe it? Probably not. I wouldn't. Okay, I'd say, what kind of evidence do you have to back that up? Okay, what evidence is there to believe something like that? Well, as you see on the screen there, evidence has observation, there's facts, there's data from experiment, quotes, that's like, from like history, quotes from the past, statistics that we have, and any other facts that you might be able to bring in to back up that claim, okay? And then the last part of this would be what's called reasoning. How do you relate those evidence that you have to the claim? How does it back it up? How do your observations actually support that claim? Okay, and what I'd like to do is take you through a couple examples again of how this looks so that we can get a better understanding of how to argue with each other better, okay? All right, so what shape are cells? Well, cells can have a lot of different shapes, and in a lab, the animal cell was like a wavy circle, but the plant cell looked like a rectangle. The bacteria was squiggly. Well, since all of these cells had different shapes, I can tell that cells don't just have one shape. So, here we go. The claim, cells can have lots of different shapes. The evidence. In this lab, the animal cell was like a wavy circle. The plant cell looked like a rectangle. The bacteria was squiggly. The reasoning. Since all these cells had different shapes, I can tell that cells don't just have one shape. Easy enough? All right, let's move on to another. Do you think the scar on the Atlantic Ocean floor is a ridge, or would you classify that as a trench? Well, I would say that the scar is a ridge. Here's some data in the form of a table. The elevation of the scar is higher than the two stations on either side. Okay, well, right here you got the claim. Here's your evidence. This is your reasoning. Feel free to pause the video at any point as well to just kind of take it in and kind of think about it. Feel free to rewind or fast forward. That's kind of the beauty of doing these videos, is it can really, you guys can have full power to look at it however you want to help you better. Okay, let's do one more. Do cockroaches prefer light or dark environments? Cockroaches prefer dark environments. When we let cockroaches choose between the light and dark side of a box, none of them chose the dark side. Since more of the cockroaches chose the dark, we can tell that is what they prefer. Take a second, maybe pause the video, and see what you think is the claim, which is the evidence, and which is the reasoning, and why you believe that. In this question, or in this statement, you have the cockroaches prefer dark environments. The evidence, right there in blue, and yellow would be your reasoning. Hopefully this is making sense so far. Okay, let's do one last one. I say, do you think that the climate is changing? Make sure you support your idea with evidence and reasoning. And Olivia says, I think the climate is changing because this fall has been really warm. But Mariella says, does being warm just one fall count as evidence for climate change? Well, Nate chimes in and says, no, climate is long-term changes. It is just weather, if it is a one day or a month or a season. So I think it is changing because the air temperature has slowly gotten warmer over a long period of time. The average temperature has increased 2 degrees over the 100 years. No, so in this entire dialogue, what is the claim, what is the evidence, and what is the reasoning? Okay, give you a second to kind of think about that. Claim, evidence, reasoning. All right, let's check it out. Olivia was making a claim, and she backed it up with evidence. Okay, Mariella asked a question, and Nate then made his own claim, backing up with reasoning, and evidence. Okay, do you see how this works? Now, for something fun, I'm going to go ahead and take you guys through a video activity, but I'm going to go ahead and play it for you now.
Hi, it's Vince with ShamWow. You'll be saying wow every time you use this towel. It's like a chamois, it's like a towel, it's like a sponge. A regular towel doesn't work wet. This works wet or dry. This is for the house, the car, the boat, the RV. ShamWow holds 20 times its weight in liquid. Look at this. It just does the work. Why do you want to work twice as hard? Doesn't drip. Doesn't make a mess. Wring it out. You wash it in the washing machine. Made in Germany. You know the Germans always make good stuff. You can cut it in half. Use one as a bath mat. Drain your dishes with the other one. Use one as a towel. Olympic divers, they use it as a towel. Look at that. Completely dry. Put a wet sweater. Roll it up. It dries your sweaters. Here's some cola. Wine, coffee, cola, pet stains. Not only is the damage going to be on top, there's your mildew. That is going to smell. See that? The most observed. We're going to do this in real time. Look at this. Put on the spill, turn it over without even putting any pressure. 50% of the cola right there. You follow me, camera guy? The other 50%, the color starts to come up. No other towel is going to do that. It acts like a vacuum. And look at this, virtually dry on the bottom. See what I'm telling you? ShamWow, you'll be saying wow every time.
All right. I'll tell you what, that Vince is a pretty convincing salesman, don't you think? I mean, I feel like I want to go out and buy a ShamWow right now and maybe even sell them for a higher price if they do that good of a job. Goodness. But I hope you like that. But why is Vince so convincing? Well, I can tell you one thing for me, when I look at that, he has a lot of passion and he believes in that product, and it's his job to convince us that we should go buy one. What was Vince's claim? You should buy a ShamWow. Go out and get one right now. Okay, but is that enough to convince you to go buy one? No. You better have some evidence to back that up. And he did. He says that it does not drip, and he showed us. It says it holds 20 times its weight in liquid. And how about that scene where he absorbed all that liquid from the carpet? It's pretty awesome. But again, why should we buy one? How does that evidence back that claim? Because his experiments prove that the ShamWow is capable of soaking up liquids much better than regular paper towels. Okay? So again, let's go through this. Feel free to screenshot this or whatever you guys need, or write it down, or maybe I can post something for you. I'd like you to have these explanations of each so you guys can understand it better. But a claim is an answer to a question, usually a statement. Evidence, it's observations, fact, data, quotes, statistics, facts, and reasoning. Okay, even in that one commercial, you found all this in there in his I guess explanation of why you should go out and buy a ShamWow. Okay. So the idea behind CER is to get you as a collection of students thinking about some good questions in science. Okay, so or some good statements even from questions. Okay, for example, I could say the statement, artificial intelligence is a threat to humanity. All right, and in order to say that, I would have to back it up with evidence, okay, and then show why that evidence proves my claim. While others might say artificial intelligence is not a threat to humanity, and then they would have to have their evidence and their reasoning. And the idea is to split the class up into two camps, have you do your own research, and then come together on Hialu, which I'll show you later, and then have a real debate on that. Okay? Another example I think that's very current is, what if someone says that a mask does not prevent the spread of COVID? Well, you better have some evidence for that and show again why your evidence backs up your claim. Okay? Or the opposite claim would be masks do help prevent the spread of COVID-19. All right, and the same thing goes. Okay, you got to give some evidence. And I'd love to get us in some of these conversations here in the future. But first, I just want to make sure we understand the difference, or what a claim is, what evidence is, and what reasoning is. And I'll be looking for ways to do that slowly over time. And then, yes, we will get into some debates. All right. As always, if you guys have any questions or comments, just send me an email. I'd love to hear from you. And again, happy Friday. I hope you guys have all a great weekend. Thank you.